back to our series. We've been trying to build this website for some time now, and this is just the part 3. I think today, since we built since we built the header and the footer, we should be able to do quite a lot today, right? So we've done this in the last series. The last video, and we've also built the header. So we will be building the home page and the inner pages. When I say inner pages, what I mean are pages like this, about us, and pages like contact us. We would also be looking at how to build your contact form and how to set different parameters, such as the email, where which email will receive a notification and what kind of notification, what will be the message, what will be the response when somebody fills a contact form, like your message has been successfully sent. Not every time somebody fills a contact form you want to sound like that. There are some contact form that you create that will be specialized. For example, it could be somebody's trying to join the program. So basically, you can use form as either a contact form or as an onboarding form. You're going to be using the same widget in Elementor. It's just the way you talk to the visitor that will be different. So if it is a contact form, it typically appears like this. But if it is a form, like a survey form or a form where you need information from a client, then you already know what kind of questions you'll be asking. Then once the client finishes filling all the information, that would depend on what kind of feedback message you give to that client. So everything will be treated in this series. So now let's go back to our home page and let's go on and open our project files. Remember, at the end of the last session, I told you that we'll be migrating our website from testwp. We'll be migrating our website from testwp to local. Thank you so much, Steve, for suggesting local to us. I have installed my own copy of local. So this is local. It's actually a server that you can use to develop websites, WordPress based website locally, right? That is why it is called local. You don't need to go on testwp anymore. Remember the inconvenience that we had with testwp, which will always get logged out every 2 days. Now, because we are moving to local, I will not need to do the ritual that I normally do, spinning up a new testwp server, then going to restore my backup. No, I wouldn't be doing that on testwp anymore, since we are not going to be using testwp anymore. Though testwp allows us to spin up WordPress website very fast, probably faster than local, but this 2 days issue where we get thrown out every 2 days and we're gonna have to take a mandatory backup, else we're gonna lose our progress, is going to become a huge inconvenience for us. But it is a good thing, since this inconvenience in our first 2 videos have allowed us to learn the art of website migration, especially from server to server, and more importantly, when the domains don't even have the same URL. So it is possible to make website migration using that method I've taught you earlier. You already have the plugins and pretty much every other thing you need to know concerning WordPress website migration, which is a good thing, which is a blessing in disguise. Unfortunately, we will not be moving ahead with this series, which is building this website. We won't be moving ahead using testwp anymore. Bye bye testwp. I'll see you anytime soon. If for example we have to test a plugin to see the effects before we apply on our website, testwp can be very useful for that. But for development, which is going to be spanning many days because of the inconvenience of 2 days, we will no longer be using testwp. All right, so if you want to install local on your laptop, this is the address. This is the YouTube video to watch, but because I've installed local, I will not be needing to go through this process. Basically, all you need to do is click on, go to Google and type local WP. Once you do that, you have this option, so you can install local. But if you like videos a lot, this video is going to be useful to you. So I'm just going to copy and paste this video in the Telegram group. So let me just go to the Telegram group here. Just going to go to noobs installing how to install local WP on your PC. All right, so watch that video. You're gonna get step by step on how to install local WP on your PC. Now, once you install local WP on your PC, local, like I told you, is a WordPress server that allows us to build WordPress websites on our PC. So that's basically what local does. This video is going to take you through the process of getting up to this point where you can now add your own local site. Now, because remember, before you can restore a backup, you need the WPress file. Remember, the last session we had, we took a backup. So I'm just going to search for WPress and let's look at it. So we have quite a lot of WPress files here. Now the issue is I'm trying to know which one is ours, which one did I saved that relates to our project. Now we need to add a local site. Now I'm going to create a new site. This is the process of adding a new site in local. So create a new site. I'm just going to click on continue. What is the name of your site? Let's name it Milo, because of course that is the name of the site we are trying to we are trying to build. So we call it Milo, or we can say Milo theme. The name of your site is what is going to appear on the taskbar, on the title bar here, right, by default. So you don't need to touch any advanced options, just click on continue. Then this, you don't need to do anything, just click on continue. Now the WordPress username is the WordPress username that you're going to be using to sign into your WordPress backend. WordPress username, it doesn't matter anyways, because this username is going to change once we apply the backup. I think that should be the case, but let's see what happens, because we are in a new environment now. So let's see what happens when we apply the backup. Remember, the username and password is always changing when we apply the backup, but let's see what happens. So I'm going to select a new username. Let me just give it Milo admin. All right, but it's not advisable to make your username guessable. So in my own case, let me just use Yeps. Then the password, make sure you are using a name that is easy. When it comes to your WordPress username, that easy for you to remember but hard for others to guess. Also, make sure that your WordPress username has nothing to do with your site, else your website will be susceptible to hacking, right? So WordPress password, just look for a good password. But let me just change this username to UU, since it is easy for me to remember. So WordPress email, just make sure it is an email that you can access, right? In this case, I'm just going to use my Gmail, but then there are implications to this. That's another story, especially people that buy hosting from shared hosting platforms like Namecheap. But it's not a big deal anyways. Just put an email that is accessible in case you forget your password or anything. But normally it should be a username with an email that relates to your website. For example, if your website name is google.com, then your email should be you@google.com. That is just an example. It is not possible for you to have google.com as your domain. All right, so in this case, let's just manage our WordPress email as my personal email. It doesn't matter, to be honest, but that is just it for now. So I'm going to click on add site. Right, I'm going to click on add site. Once I do that, it is going to set up an empty WordPress website for us. Now it's asking me for my Mac password, but yeah, that is for security reasons. Now I'm just going to grant it by putting my password. Once I do that, WordPress will be installed on my laptop. Now we have WordPress installed. How do we test it? All you need to do is click on this WP admin button, right? Once you do that, it's going to take you to the login page where you can now set your username and password. Optionally, you can activate one-click admin by turning this button on. What that means is that when you click on this WP admin, it just takes you directly to the login page. To your WP admin backend without asking for username and password. If it is much more easier or safer, if you think it is easier for you to be putting your username and password, you don't need to activate this. All right, so let's go to WP admin by clicking on it. You can see that I was able to directly go onto my WP admin without being asked for my username and password. Why? Because I have enabled one-click admin. Another thing I want you to notice is that this is saying that it is not secure. Generally speaking, it is not a good idea to be developing a website in a not secure environment, otherwise known as HTTP. We have a secure protocol called HTTPS, which means Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secured, which is the S, and it will typically have a padlock icon or a settings icon here. When you click it, it tells you connection is secure. But let's see our other connection here. Let's see our other connection here. When you click on this, you see that your connection to this site is not secure. To avoid problems with different kind of plugins or processes, it is always a good idea to make sure you are developing on a secure environment. How do we add an SSL certificate to our website to make it secure? Now I'm going to show you. The process may be a little bit different on Windows, or you may not even have that issue on Windows after you do this step. So the first thing you want to do is to entrust an SSL certificate to this website. You can see that other websites that I have here have been trusted. So when you visit them, you won't have that issue. But this is always going to have the not secure notification here, but you must make it secure. To make it secure, all you need to do is click on the trust button or on the trust CTA here. Once you click on it, it is going to ask you for your password. But this is the latest Mac. I'm working on the latest Mac. If you are working on earlier versions of Mac OS, you may not have this issue, but I'm working on Mac OS Sonoma, which is the latest version of Mac OS. It's a bit restrictive, so even after this, I'm gonna have to do further things to make it work. But look at it. First thing you have to do, I've put in my password. I don't know why it is not taking it off. So okay. Now you see that it's not working, right? It says heads up, we ran into an SSL issue. An issue trusting the local SSL certificate. Well, how can we fix this problem? I have to search for keychain, right? Keychain on my Mac. Then I'll open it and I'm going to click on open keychain access. Now I'm going to search for my new website that I just added, which is Milo theme, and hopefully it sees it. Now you can see that Milo theme says that the root certificate is not trusted. Now I'm just going to right click and I'm going to click on get info. Under get info, I'm going to go to trust and I'm going to change it from use system default to always trust, and every other thing is going to go change to always trust. Then once I close this, I'll be asked to put in my password. Please note that this issue, you may not face this issue, especially if you're on Windows. If you are on Windows, you may find it a bit easier for you to add an SSL certificate by just clicking this button. So let me know if you have an issue trusting your web site if you are on Windows. I'm going to provide you with a solution. But if you're on Mac, you already saw how I fixed the issue. Now I'm going to click on stop site just so that we can restart the site again, and I'm going to click on start site again so that the server for that site will now start working. Let me click on trust again, and I'm going to be giving my password. So let me click on trust again. I don't know why it is asking me for my password several times, but let's hope that what I did in the other window then, in the keychain access, what I did here has fixed it. So how do I confirm that? Because even the keychain is still telling me that it is not trusted yet, but I've set it to be trusted. So let me confirm from here. All right, it is still on always trust. Now let me close keychain and let me try to reopen it again and see if it's still not showing. But now let me open the website and see whether the effect has. You can see that it's still not working. Why is it not working though? We're gonna have to find out. All right, so I'm just going to click on WP admin again, because remember I've closed the website. So let me just click on WP admin again. It's still not working. All right, I think I found the issue. The issue now is I'm going to go to settings and I'm going to go to general. Now you can see that our WordPress URL is on HTTP instead of HTTPS. So you have to change this URL to HTTPS. then you have to click on save changes. If the SSL certificate has kicked up and has started working, you will not get a complaint. And you can see this has automatically started using the HTTPS version of our website. Now you can see now that says connection is secure. If you don't trust this website, right, and you just go and set it to HTTPS, you are going to have issues. So you first have to go through the process of trusting it. I'm very sure that when I restart this software, it is going to refresh and say trusted, just like others. Okay, it is now showing safe, right? You can see now that it is trusted. All right, so now you can now keep working. Now for me to be able to log in, I first need to remember my username and password. And I don't think WP admin I don't think this one-click admin is now working since I changed to HTTPS. That's weird, because I activated one-click admin. It is supposed to just take me in, but it is not. But it's not a problem because I remember my username and password. Now let me just put in my password so that we can log in. All right. One thing you will notice with WP local is that it is much faster than this WP to operate, to work with. When you start working on it, it is much more faster because it really doesn't have to, everything you are doing is already on your PC. You don't have to do much with an exchange. Exchanging data with the server. The first thing we want to do is to install plugins, right? Which is our backup and restore plugins that we usually install back then on this WP. Now we are on local. This is the first time we're going to be doing it on local, and probably the final time we're going to be doing it, because after this there will be no need for us to be backing up every time again. All right, so I'm just going to click on choose file, and I'm going to look for the plugins I use for backups. I think it is called all-in-one WP migration. So I'm just going to first install the first all-in-one WP migration before I install the extension. So let's go. Now it is installed. I'm just going to click on activate. You can see how fast local is on my computer. The only downside of local is that it consumes a lot of batteries. So if you want to be using it, especially for long periods, make sure that your laptop is plugged in. Now another plugin I need to install is the extension for the all-in-one backup restore. So let me look for it. So which is this all-in-one WP unlimited extension. Open, install now, activate. Now that we have our two backup and restore plugins installed, the next thing we need is the backup file, which is the WordPress file. That's the next thing we need. So to import it, we're just going to come to import, and we are going to click on import from file, then look for the backup file. Now the issue is I have so many WordPress files on my PC. I have so many WordPress files on my laptop. I don't know which one exactly it is between this WikiCry or Robin Industry. I don't know which one exactly it is, but I'm more inclined towards this because that sounds different than others. Sounds like the WP website that we're working on before. So how do I know now? Is to look for, I'm going to get the file info to look for the one that appeared latest, which is this one was created on February 15, while I think this one was created much more earlier. So let's go. I expect, all right, February 11, that was 4 days prior to this. So this is most likely our WordPress file that we want to import, right? So I'm just going to go to file and I'm going to search for WordPress, and I think it is that WikiCry. So I think it is that WikiCry. Yeah, this one, WikiCry. Now I'm just going to open it. So you can see how fast it imported, and that is because we are on a local server. Like I always told you, there's no need to exchange any information with the remote server. If it was on this WP, it will take a bit of time because it needs to upload first, but everything is happening locally, and even the WordPress file was also imported from a local storage, so that is why it is very fast. So I'm just going to click on proceed, and hopefully very soon you can see our site has been imported successfully. I'm just going to click on finish, and that is it. Now when you click on finish, usually your website remains the same until you click on another icon or on another link. Now, when I click on dashboard, for example, I'll be told to re-log in again. All I just need to do is log in again. Now you can see that my password and username that I used to create this site are no longer correct, which is very, very normal. How do I get my username and password back? Remember, at the beginning of this tutorial, I told you to keep your username and password in a safe place. This is probably the last time we'll be needing to do this, to hunt for where we kept the username, because we've just restored the login details, the website on another server. But it's always a good idea to have it kept in a separate place. Main reason is because you can no longer access it to even find out where your password is. What your password is, because it is no longer going to go. Let me show you. You can see it here. This will cry. It will not open our website anymore. It would have been deleted by TasteWP. That is why you need to keep. I think I don't need to be saying this anymore because I've said it multiple times. So now let me go to my Google Keep and go and check my username and password for the website. All right. How did I save my what did I save my username and password is? This is it. All right. My WordPress password, my username is uu.odu. So let me copy that and let me paste it here. And my password is this. So I'm just going to copy it. When you're copying your password, make sure you don't accidentally put an extra space in front. So I hope you know that already. Now that I've copied my password, I'm just going to paste it here and I'm just going to click on login. It's going to ask this and I'm just going to click on save to update it. Now you can see I'm logged in. I'll just say remind me later. All right. Once you do that, a security feature I normally tell people is go to settings, go to general, and make sure you change this administration email address to avoid your website getting hacked, right? If you try to change your email administration email address, WordPress will attempt to send you a confirmation email, which unfortunately this will not work on this local server. Email services will not work. If I put in tycoon@gmail.com, now if I put in tycoon@gmail.com as my new administration password and I click save changes, it is going to tell me, while still retaining the old email, it's going to tell me that there is a pending change of email administrator to tycoon@gmail.com. So what this means is that it is going to attempt to send you a link so that you can confirm this new email from there. I don't know why it is designed like that, but that is how WordPress has always been. Fortunately for us, I told you that this local environment, email services may not work. So you will not be getting email alerts from your website unless you buy a hosting plan and move over there. But there is a plugin that can allow us to force change this email address without any form of sending of changing email to your new email address. So I'm just going to go to plugin. I'm going to add new plugin. And I'm going to search for change admin email. So you can see this plugin allows an administrator to change the site admin email without sending a confirmation email from the server, which is exactly what we're trying to do. We want to override the default behavior so that we can change our email address. The reason why I'm emphasizing on changing your WordPress email address is so that to avoid incidences of hacking in the future because of that email address that was. So let me click on activate. Once I click on activate, I should be able to change the email address from here without any form of confirmation. So I'm just going to go back to settings. I'm going to go to general and I'm going to change this email address. I'm just going to change this email address to my email address now. Now I will not need to be sent a verification again for the thing to change. Now you can see that the setting was saved and I wasn't asked for any, I wasn't sent any verification. Sorry to digress, but we needed to fix that part. So now let's go ahead with our website design. As you can see in the last session, in the last tutorial, we designed the header and the footer, and just some minor changes to the responsiveness of the footer. We already have services here about. We designed header also for the mobile, for mobile devices. Now I noticed that the when first off, uh, first off, I needed to fix this first error here, which I made a mistake. I added menu item. So let's go and fix it. So I go to Milo menus. I'm very sure that most of you didn't do this mistake. I wanted to put blog instead of menu item. So I'm just going to um, put the hash character here, then put the right name here, which is blog, right? So that is what I wanted to do. I made a mistake from the last from the class. I was an oversight. Now let's go back. We should already have blog here now. So we already have blog here now. So I think there's some improvement I needed to do with the mobile footer, with the footer in the mobile. I mean, the footer. So I'm just going to edit the footer now. So let's change it to mobile view. There are some things I needed to do. Nothing is showing here to fix, but maybe we'll figure that out later though. But I mean, yeah, nothing bad here. I just check it is working fine. All right. Let's just start the development of the main parts of our website, which look at. Sorry, this is not the home page. Yeah, this is the home page you are trying to build, right? So one thing first is to prepare your images. So we're going to be stealing images from this website, but so that you can understand better in real world scenario where you will be feeling, I mean, you will be putting your own image in real world. You will be putting your image. One, you first need to get an idea of the size of this image, right? You need to know what the image size is, or at least I mean something close to the size of the image. To do that, sometimes you are not able to just right click and open an image on a website such as this one. This one says you can't even open it, right? Let me look at an image that you can directly open. So you can see that on this image, I'm able to right click and say open image in new tab, right? Why? Because these images here are real images. They are foreground images, right? They are foreground. Do you know what foreground is? An image that is appearing on top, that is naked, right? They are in front. Though this looks like an image that is in front, especially because it is overlaying this, but this is a background image. That is why you can't right click and open it in a new tab, right? Let me prove to you that it is a background image. I'm going to inspect it using code tools, developer tools. So you are going to see this. Look at this here. You can see this code here. It's actually a background image. So there are many ways you can fetch background images using a website and fetch details of those images, but I don't want to blow your head here. Especially with all this code. I don't want to introduce it to code because with WordPress, you necessarily don't have to know code. So, but if you want to inspect an image on a website, I think there should be some plugins some extensions that can allow you to do that. Let's try, because I really don't want you guys to be delving into code every time, because that defeats the purpose of learning WordPress. But it's a good thing if you know code. So let me look for any extension that allows us to inspect any image, even if it is a background image. So let's look at image inspector. We may see and we may not see IMG inspector. Well, let me don't digress too much. You can find that later. But I hope you get the point. You will soon understand better though. So some images allow you to right click and just save them or check the more information on the image, while others don't allow you to do that. The difference is one is an image while another is a background image. So this is a background image. That's why I can't just simply right click and open in another tab. For those images that we are able to open in another tab, we will be able to see more information about them, such as their sizes. Now if I right click this and open it in another tab, open image in new tab, I will be able to see the dimension by just hovering my mouse on the title bar. Right, you can see that this image is a 768 by 768 pixel image. Right, all right, so that is just something about images with web design. Now I can't just do the same for this. I can't just right click this image. I can't right click here and say open image in new tab because this is a background image. This is absolutely not compulsory though, but just in case you need to get information about an image that was used, you need to press Ctrl Shift and C on your laptop. Once you do that, this console is going to, this panel is going to spring up. If it is your first time of doing that, this thing may come on the side. This thing may appear like this. It may appear like this. This is the default appearance. It is you that will click on these three dots and bring it down. Once you do that, it is going to appear here. Once it does that, let's see. Sorry, I got distracted by somebody. Sorry about that. So all I'm looking for is where the background image was actually put. So once you click on the image itself, on the image cover, right, you keep scrolling down. Just keep scrolling down your left until you see something that looks like a URL. You can see now when I click on this link, it's going to bring me here. So this is the actual image that was used, just in case you need to get detail of the size of that image. It's a background image, and that is how to fish them out, right? You inspect it, you look for a parameter under the styles tab here called URL. Once you do that, it is going to filter out and show only background image URLs, so you can just easily click and go to the image. You can apply pretty much the same technique for any image that doesn't allow you to right click, copy and paste. Now let's do it for this one as well. Ctrl Shift and C, or Command C, Shift and C if you're on Mac. Then I'm just going to click on the image. Then let me filter it by typing URL. Then you see it here. Then you can see that I can fetch out the background image. That's fantastic, right? So now we have information on this image, on the size of the images used. Normally you don't need to do this, except that you're having difficulty in replicating the exact same thing that they did here, which I don't think it should be an issue. Pretty much every image that you find on sites like Shutterstock or on Splash should be able to work. Now next thing we want to do is create our own hero section here. What is an hero section? I already explained this in our first video. An hero section is the first section of the website that is intended to be catchy and provide a very fanimorous, or how do I say it? That's the Yoruba language. A very pleasing experience to your first-time visitors. Now, so this is for this website. This is their own hero section, and we're going to try to build ours. Now, let me close these tabs to avoid distractions. We are not going to be using quick text WP anymore, so I'm just going to close this, also close this, also close this. So we have only tabs that we are going to be working with. All right, so I'm logged in already, so close this. So what we need to just create our first page. We should go to pages. Or we already have a front page here, but I don't think there's any content there in it. So let me just delete it and start afresh. I'm just going to click on trash. Right, no, I shouldn't have deleted it. So let me click on undo. We had the home page, we created it in previous lessons. We created it in previous lessons, but just that we did not add anything, any content at all there. So Now that I deleted it, I'm gonna have to go back here and set our home page again. So I'm just going to go to reading under settings here. Yeah, settings. I'm just going to go to reading and make sure that our home page goes back to this and this, because that was the page we selected. Because me deleting the home page has caused this to happen. If I go to visit site, it's going to show something like this, or show a list of posts that we have on our website, blog posts. But we want the home page to be a static page that we created, which is in this case the page named home that we created here. So once these things are set, just go to cross check that yours is still like that. Click on save changes. Then if I go back here, if I refresh, it goes back. So all I need to do is edit this page with Elementor. Remember, we edited with Elementor. So let me just do all pages and go to edit, then edit with Elementor. All right, so you see this inner part, let me close the navigator because I don't need it now. You see this inner box that has jagged lines around, shows that nothing is on this page at all. Every other place is white with nothing, no content here. So we're going to start by adding our hero section. First thing we want to add is add a flex box. Let's see. All right, first thing we want to add is add a flex box that's going to contain, so we're just going to select down, right? Yeah, so this first line is going to contain this image that they have here. But why can't we have our own customized image? I'm going to go look for exactly that. You can decide to use their own image, steal it using the method I taught you, or go and download yours. So in this case, I just like some creativity, so I'm going to download my own image. There are two ways to actually do this. One way is to add a spacer inside here, so that this background, when you add an image, can be as tall as you want depending on the height you have set for that spacer. Now I'm going to show you what I mean, but let's get an image to use as background first. Just let's go to unsplash.com, where we can download lots of free images. So I'm just going to look for images of two people smiling. So let me just say two people. Let me just type two people. Basically, they should be smiling. Most people smile in their images. So I think I like this image. We can use this image, or we can even look for better images. But to avoid wasting time, I think this image is just about perfect. So let's just click on download. I'm going to download this medium. I'm not going to download this one, because if you download this one, it's going to download the original size, which will be too big for any website. If you want to work with websites, you have to make sure your image is as light as possible. What that means is that your image should be as small as possible. It shouldn't be too small that it will lose quality. It should just be about the right amount of screen size, that wants to view it. So just click on medium so that we can have an image that is at least usable. If I want to squash this image even further so that the file size will be smaller without any noticeable loss in quality, there's a website that I can go. It is called tinypng.com. All you need to do is bring in the image inside this box, and it is going to squash it further by compressing it. Now you can see that it has saved 52% by compressing the image from 278 KB to 133 KB. What is the benefit of using an image that is of smaller size? The benefit is that your website will load faster, because there will be no need for too much data to be exchanged. I hope you understand. The smaller the file size of an image used on a website, the faster the website will load. Just have that in mind. Just have that at the back of your mind going forward. So I'm always coming to this website almost every time when I'm working on a website, especially when I want to add images, to squash the file size of that image so that Anytime I upload an image, it compresses it. I mean, it is a compressed and optimized version for web. Now let me go back to our edit home. I mean our Elementor homepage. I'm just going to click on this container. My aim is to add a background to this container, not this container, not this spacer, right? This container itself. Let me put on the navigator so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, this is the navigator and the container is the one containing the spacer, right? So this is the container here, yeah? So here is what we want to put the background image, not here. Remember, because the container is wide, touches both ends of the screen. So you're just going to click on this container. Of course, when you click on an object here, it automatically gets selected. So it gives you the same effect as clicking on it directly here. Yeah. So when you click on style, I'm just going to click on style. I'm just going to click on classic. I put on choose image. Just bringing the image that we've compressed here. Basically, these two images are the same, but this one is compressed using tiny PNG, smaller file size, which is good for our website. You don't know. All right, so I'm just going to drag it inside here, and here we go. I'm going to select it. Now you can see we have a problem. The problem is that the image are disproportionately placed inside our website. Now we're going to try to fix this. You understand? So to do that, I'm just going to click on position, which means the position where the area where we want the image to show. So we want center, so that the center of the image is shown, right? And we don't want the image to repeat itself. So I'm going to set it on no repeat. This attachment should always be left in its default, right? When dealing with background images, attachment should be left in default, except you know what you are doing. For now, I will recommend it should be left on default. Then the display size should be set to cover so that the image is covered, I mean stretches from end to end, to make sure that there is no white gap inside the container. Now there's an issue now. This center has left, sorry, let me go back to clicking the container because that is where our background image is. This center has made it so that the image is showing the middle part of the picture, which happens to be the chest region, and that is not what we want to show. So we are going to show top, center, and C. Now this top center appears to be a bit better because we have some head, which makes the picture more meaningful. Now if I want to increase the height of this hero banner, all I need to do is to increase the height of the spacer by just seeking it like this. Now you can see that this works a little bit, right? This works a bit fine, right? So that is basically how to add an image. Now you can see if we go to this website here, this website here, you can see that the image, let me see how tall our own, sorry, I've been opening too many of these now. Yeah, so let me see how tall our own in comparison with this is. It's not that bad, but if you want an image that shows much more of these people's body, then you are going to look for an image that is very wide, so that when you set it at the background, it will show, it will stretch. The wideness will make it compact so that the people will show very well. But in this case, the only option we have is to increase the height of this spacer for their body to show. Another thing we can do is to go back to the container, and then this position that says top center, we can set it to custom so that we can manually adjust the position of the background image. But this may be too advanced for beginners, and again I always like to use percentage when I'm adjusting this so that I can adjust the head so when they stretch, but then they are still looking big, which is not what we want. So this is not the kind of image we would want because the faces are just too big for the hero section. So we're gonna have to replace this image for something that is wider. To some people, especially beginners, they may not see this as a problem, but it is a problem when an expert like me is looking at it. What you will notice is that these two people, despite showing up to their chest level, there's still ample space on both left and right. The reason why they were able to achieve this was the image is wider than it is taller, right? So let's see the nature of the image again. Let me teach you that trick, how you extract background image. Now you can see that, oh yeah, this image is tall, yeah, but it has lots of white spaces around it, such that when you zoom in, you still have some well, let me don't bore you with all those things. It is clear here that we need to just get another image to use as our background image, as those ones are too close. They are too close to the front. So now let's keep looking for more image to use until we see that one that we want to use. I think an image like this will work, but let's see if we have better options. An image like this will also work because the people are not too close to the, but we want an image of two people talking and smiling. So let me just refine my keyword and say two people smiling. Now, the problem I usually have with this kind of websites is that they are very poor when it comes to, images. Two people. Now, when I say two people smiling, it's showing me a bunch of images of one people, and that is not what I want. That's not what I'm looking for. You know, the reason why we can't use this image here is because of the same reason why we can't. These two people are too close to the front of the image. We want them a bit distant so that we have some more space around. So we are looking for the perfect image. If this website is not giving up what we need, there are still a lot of other stock image websites that we can go to. An example is on Splash. An example is Pexels, right? Pexels.com. All right, so here in Pexels.com, let's see if we have luck. So let me see two people smiling. I still don't see any good image that we can use, but hopefully if we keep searching, we find an image that we can use. Two people smiling in office, or two people in office. We just need an image of two people in the office. That's not too much to ask for, right? Two people. The problem with these images is that they don't have enough ample space for us to work with. But just so that you are aware of it, I'm telling you this. Normally, it wouldn't be a problem, especially for newbies. They just go ahead and choose the image and then use it. We can use this type of image, but then they are not two people. I want an image that has two people, so we have something as similar as possible. Okay, let's look at this. So let's look at this. Let me click on this image, and I'm just going to click on free download, and I'm going to click on large. Yeah, download selected size. As usual, we go to tinypng.com to compress the image so that it is much more smaller. So once I drag the image here, I'm just going to download. We compress it by 15%, not bad. Now I'm just going to replace this image with the one I downloaded from Pexels. This is about giving us the same results, but I think in my opinion, it's a bit fair. It's a bit fair, right? So let's just work with our previous image. Yeah, so this should always be either center or top center. Yeah, so I think center is okay, right? It's not that bad. No, center is not okay. So let me give it top center so we can always see their faces. Right now, this is good. Next thing I'm going to do now is check what next it is to be designed. Now I'm just going to go here and I'm going to add a new section here. I'm still not satisfied with the image, but let's move further. Right, I'm just going to click on this So let me show you how I got here. I added a new flex box here. Click on this and then this, right? Once I did that, no, I shouldn't have done that. Add a new flex box like this because we need two columns. Let me just do, why can't I just select it then? So here it is. We have two columns here. Remember, this is one column and this is another column. So yeah, that's why we have two columns here. Now the first is insert your engaging headline here, and that's exactly what I'm going to type here. So I'm just going to draw the heading widget here, which is also used to write title, right? Now you can see here the heading widget. I'm just going to type the same text that they typed here. So I'm just going to say insert your heading headline here. So you notice that this is too close to the picture here and there's some gap here. All I need to do is put in some decent amount of padding inside this outside container here. See it, see the hierarchy now. You can see that this is a new container here. So all I need to do is put in some padding here. All right, so let's add some spaces. You will notice that in my teachings, I normally take cognizance. I normally pay attention to all those small details like paddings and margins. It's all this so that you are able to learn web design very, very well. All right, so here I'm just going to put in some decent amount of padding. So let's give it top like 30, 20, bottom 20. Right, so we have enough space. Now let's look at this. You'll notice that there is a background here that is not white. This is white, but this is like a cream color, and I think we have it already in our color palette. All right, if you are working with this website, you need to increase the brightness of your screen so that you can see very well. So here I'm just going to click on this container and set the background color. To do that, click on the container, click on style, go here and click on this default color and see whether we have that list. That's in our list. I think we have it, and this is it, the cream color. You can see we added it at the beginning of the VM series. You see how easy it is for us to just include it in our design. Now you will notice that our text, this text appears to be a bit thinner than our own, and I think smaller, but I think it is more important that we make it thinner. So go to style, go to typography and change the weight to like medium. Now you can see now that they have the same weight. Weight means the thickness of text in web design. Weight, they call it font weight. All right, so now we are done with the headline here. Next thing we need to do, copy this. This is actually a text, and what we're going to do just for this is the text widget. But let me copy the text here, and this is it. So I'm just going to go here and go to text editor, click on this here, and I'm going to paste what we copied over. When you are pasting in web design from the source, especially when you don't need to keep things like bold and links and all of that, it's always a good idea to paste as a text so that you will not carry any jargons over, right? In this case, we are not carrying any jargons over, but I'm just telling you it is always a good idea to paste as a text so that the text is clean. Else you will be having something like this in your text, div and something like that, which is jargons, especially when you copy it over from Microsoft Word. Just take notes. So whenever you are pasting, paste as, in Mac they call it paste and match style, in Windows they call it paste as plain text, right? So whenever you are copying and pasting from another source, just paste that as plain text so that you don't copy lots of garbage codes in your design. All right, so the next thing we want to add here is a call to action button. Now I'm just going to go to here and I'm going to go to button widget. So I'm going to search for button and I'm just going to add it here. You can see I'm dragging here. Now you can see that we now have our button. We just need to adjust this a little bit. So first off, we need to put our text here, call to action. Notice that I'm not typing in capital letters. I'm typing in small letters, but there is a CSS setting that we're going to set here that will transform this automatically to capital letters. Now, but before I do that, let me fix the text color. Now I'm just going to go to normal. This is the text settings, normal. What color should the text be under normal circumstances without any interactions to the button? This is here. So I'm just going to change this color to, is it white that they use here? Yeah, white. So I'm just going to change it to white. Sorry, I'm just going to change it to white, and that is why you see the button color is now white. Now you can see that mine is in title case, call to action, but I'm just going to transform it now to uppercase. To do that, I'm just going to click on typography here, and I'm going to click on transform and select uppercase. You don't know. Now you can see now that the text is automatically transformed to uppercase. All right. You can do some adjustments such as improve the button text. You can increase the font weight of the text inside the button and give it like 600 so it looks better. You can see here that when you hover on the button, the color changes to somewhat light. All you need to do is to achieve the same effects. You just click on this, then you change this tab to hover, then you define the text color. Sorry, we don't need to alter the text color, it's already good at white. So but you can just change it to white, leave it as white because the text color is white. It is the background that you will change. Now you click on this and change the background color to, let me first give it background color of like secondary, then now increase the transparency so that when they click on it, it just gives that kind of transparent vibe. When they hover on it, you can see we achieve the same effect as this. So what they basically did is add transparencies to the default blue color, not necessarily changing the color. All right, so anytime you hover on it, we can even add some over animation to it. Once you click on this over, you get this over animation menu drop down. You can see now once you click on this, you want to add some over animation. My best animation is floats. When you hover, the button floats up. That is my best. It's not too shouty, it's not, doesn't seek attention too much, but it's not that bad. Now we are done with this part. Right, let's look at our website. I personally think that this our header, this our container, this our hero container is too big. So let me just reduce the size by changing the size of the spacer. Right, you can see here, I've changed the size of the spacer, and these two people are still here. We're gonna leave them like that, but it's not a good idea to make the spacer, the hero banner to be too big, else it will look ugly. So let's give it like 410 pixels, right, which is about what they did here. So 410 pixels, and so we are already done with our first part we are done with the hero section. Right now, this is it, we are done with the hero section. I'm just going to check for how it looks on tablets. It's not looking bad on tablets, but let me just reduce the size a little bit. Right, so let me give it like 340. Right, or let me give it 320. Right, this is not bad for tablets. And let me see how it looks on mobile. I'm just going to reduce the space and give it like 230. 240 is fine, and we have this. Though you can reduce this heading size for mobile, I think there's absolutely no problem with it. Okay, so I think we're good here. The only issue here is that this text appears to be a bit big. So I'm just going to click on the text and go to style and go to typography and change the text to like 15. Right, so let's see how it looks on mobile. Yeah, it's not that bad. So 15 px for the text is okay. Right, so we are done with this hero section. Now I'm just going to click on update and let's preview it on our home page. I'm still not satisfied with this background image, and it is really annoying me. So let's go back and change it, this background image here. So we've tried some of these sites and we are not getting what we want. It's time to just try Shutterstock, right? So I'm just going to go to Shutterstock. I have a Shutterstock license. I have a Shutterstock license that allows me to download any image I want from Shutterstock, right? But I'm going to show you how you can download Shutterstock images for free so that you can use it in your project, right? So here I'm just going to search for two people. Shutterstock has the largest database of images that you can use for designs in the world. Unfortunately, it's a paid platform. You have to pay for almost every image that you download, and these things don't even come cheap. But I'm going to show you how to download Shutterstock images free of charge. Let me just use that opportunity to show you now instead of using my license to download images. So we are looking for image of two people smiling in the office. So two people smiling in office. Right, you see we have quite a lot of images to choose from, especially this looks about right, but we have other options. You can see that all these options were not present in Unsplash, right? So I would have loved an image of this, so let's use this. You can notice that this image is very wide, so it will be very good for this our design here instead of this image that is not wide. So let's download this, and I'm going to click on download. Normally I should be able to just download it with my license by just clicking on medium, and I'm going to download. But I want to show you how to download Shutterstock images without a license or without logging in. So I don't know why it's taking time. Well, let's hope it's going to download. I don't know why it's taking time. Is there an issue with always allow purpose block? I'll just allow it so that I can download successfully. So let me start the download again. Re-download. So it is already downloaded, and this is it, right? But then I'm going to show you how to download an image for free on Shutterstock. All you need to do is you can either click on the image or right click on it and fetch the image, but just click on it. Once you are here on the image page, right, you copy the URL where that image is, right? When you copy the URL, you go to a website called tomato.to, right? You go to a website called tomato.to. I have no idea why it is bringing this in, so don't go to tomato.to. Then if you want to download shutterstock.images now, you just go to there are quite a lot of websites nowadays that allows you to download Shutterstock image. The tomato.to that I used to use has now turned to something else, asking me for money. So don't pay money. Just Google Shutterstock downloader, then select one of these results. Basically, all you need is the link where that image is, which we copied the other time, right? You saw it, right? Then I'm just going to paste it here, right? I'm going to click on fetch image. Once I do that, it is going to fetch the image, and I'm going to be able to download. It is asking me to click on ads. I don't know why these sites are made like this, but let me just allow ads to this site so that I can be able to download. So I'm just going to allow ads on the website, so I'm going to refresh it. Our aim why we are here is so that we can download our image. Now let me just paste this image again and fetch image, and I'm going to click on download. It's asking me to click on any ads. Let me just click on the ads so that it allows us to download. This is a fucking bastard website. So let's look for another website. Let's go to Shutterstock downloader HD. let me unblock ads on this website and let me refresh it. Let me click on Shutterstock Downloader. All I need to do is paste the image here, right? Paste the link to the image here and click on Get Image. All of these advertisements are what comes with getting these things free of charge. But it's nothing, it's you that know that you want to download image. Now that the image has been fetched, you can either right click and open the image in a new tab and see how big the image is. So I think this is okay, so I'm just going to save it. Right, so let me just give it any name, so you can just say hero. In web design, the name you give to your images in your project has an effect on how Google crawls the website and understands it. So when you are using images, make sure that they are descriptive. Don't use names like this, right? Make sure that the images are descriptive. You can use something like hero banner, or hero background image, or you can even describe the image of two people in the office, but it's okay for now. You can just say hero background. That was a wrong spelling of hero background, but at least it's still better. Now you will notice that this image is too big. It's 1.9 KB, 1991 KB, which is nearly 1.9, which is nearly 2 megabytes. We need to compress this image using tiny PNG. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to drag this image back here, and once it finishes uploading, you can see that the image is 2 MB, which is not going to be a great idea to use on our website. Don't use big images on your website, it's never worth it. So I'm waiting for the upload process to finish. I think I'm having a slow internet. Shouldn't take more than 5 seconds. I'm just gonna have to wait for it. As you can see here, is 42%. It's taking so much time for just a 2 megabyte image. It's my network issue. Should have finished a long time ago, but let's wait for it. All right, good. Network just came up all at once. This 642 KB is still big, but let's use it anyways. But when you are designing websites, generally the smaller the image is, the better. All these websites that allow you to download Shutterstock images from, you can note them in this screen recording and just go there and download Shutterstock image from. But you have to bear in mind that they will use ads, ads, right, and finish you, which is not a bad thing if you know what you are looking for. So now that we have our image, let's just go and replace this horrible background image here. So I'm just going to change the image, choose image, go here and click on drag it here. Now I'm going to click on select. Now you can see that this image is a lot better. We have spaces on either side, and it's still better than the previous. So let me change the position to center and see. So you can see now that this image is a bit better than the one that we had before. I don't know why it's giving AI vibes. It's giving AI. Look at the guy's hand, but it's not a problem. This is just for practice. All right, so let me just click on update, and here we go. We have our hero section set up. Let me see how it looks on mobile. On tablet, it's good. On mobile, it's good. All right, now here we go. Move on to the next. I think I need to make this text smaller on mobile. So let's see if it is on 15px. It is on 15px, but let me give it 14. Yeah, 14 is not bad for mobile for that text. Another thing I can do now here is to right click on that text and to make it the default, so that anytime I use the text widget, this is the default settings. So your changes will automatically, well, I don't care, just say click on save. So anytime I drag in a text widget from here, this is text editor, it inherits that default characteristics that this one had. So for example, if I go to mobile, you see that this size is set to 14, you can see, which is a good thing, so that we don't manually have to adjust our text size anymore. Okay, now that is done, Let's just click on update. Let's move on to the next section. Web design is made of columns and rows. Just know that. If you are able to know that, you'll be able to design any type of layout in this world. Sorry, let me just close this. Web design is made of columns and rows. ROWS and columns. For example, this is a row. This thing is a row. This thing is a container. This thing that has 2 columns here is a container. I just noticed something now. Yeah, you can see that this container is overlapping this image, so we may not have the exact something that we thought we had. So you can see that this container is overlapping this image. You will notice it from this side. You can see it here. It's not actually what I thought, though it was hardly visible. So let's go and adjust our design. So this is not how it was designed, right? It wasn't designed to stretch to both ends. So let's see what options we have. To do this, to achieve this, what we are going to do to achieve this is what we are going to do is we would have to redo these things. So we have to, because I don't want to start the process of having all of this all over again. Let's just create a new temporary section up here. Of course, our flexbox will be here like this. Remember that the first one I did, this one I just made the flexbox to have 2 columns and started designing, but because our design we needed to do exactly what these guys did here, we need to now change it. So here is what we're going to do. We are going to have one flexbox follow this column, right? Then we will now put in another container inside of this, right? It is now this container that we will color, right? So when you put in a container inside here, you click on advanced, you remove this, so that there will be no gap. You click on the container itself, you go to advanced, you remove this, so that there will be no gap. You come back. I don't know why these things are necessary to remove gaps in Elementor, but that's how Elementor has been. It's so annoying, but you have to do that if you want to remove any gap. Else, just leave it like that, to leave it on the default gap that comes with it. All right, to achieve these things, so to achieve this effect here, right, we're gonna have to make some slight changes to our design because we didn't see it earlier, and it's not our fault. Just the background image, the background color is almost not visible, but now that we see it, we have to do it. Now, to achieve this, we're gonna have to create a new section, or just click on this and let's see whether we can adjust our layout from this. Let's change it to this, and let me see. So you can see that this is affecting the content inside. This width is affecting the content inside, but not the container itself. That is why we need to create a new container, and we are going to do it, don't worry. So let's do it. We can't just set it here, it's not going to be possible, so we have to create a new container. So we're going to do this, right? Create a flexbox. It doesn't matter which one you pick, just pick one of these two, because we will not be adding more than one other element, nested element inside it. But I'm going to choose by default the first one here. Now what I'm going to do now is change this width to percentage and give it like 90. Right now, next thing I'm going to do is add 2 containers inside it, so that one houses this and the other houses this. Or alternatively, I can just copy this container here, right? Right click this, copy, and paste it inside here, inside this empty space. Paste, right here. I think here, this is it. I'm going to copy the other container, right click this, copy, and paste it here. Right click on this empty white space and paste it here. paste it here. Well, this is kind of problematic, so let's take another approach. The next approach I want us to take is to manually put in the containers ourselves. So here we have container one. Let me put in the navigator here so you see what is going on. The container one here, and let me just duplicate this container so that we have to duplicate. Remember, we just need 2 containers to help us house this widget here. So this can get a bit tricky. It looks simple, but it's a bit tricky to design. And of course, if you can do it, then you've learned something new. Now that we have 2 containers, we don't want them stacked on top of each other, but we want them go from left to right. So I'm going to select the mother container here, right? And I'm going to do this, right? But we are still getting it wrong. Our goal is to have one big container that now contains 2 small containers. So we are going to delete one of these so that we have one here, right? Keep an eye on the navigator and see how the structure changes, because sometimes it is always hard to keep track using just visual clues from here. So I'm going to delete this. Now you can see that we now have 1 container inside this section, right? In new Elementor, containers are called sections are called containers. So regardless of how many containers you create inside of another container, it's still going to be called containers. Meanwhile, in old Elementor, it is called sections and inner sections. Now we have one inner container inside of this container, and that is absolutely perfect, because it is that one that is inside here that we will be applying this background color to. And this one that is inside here, the width, the wideness of this one that is inside here is defined by the wideness we give this one that is outside here. You can see now that the wideness we give this one that is outside is 90%. We can adjust and increase it to like 100%, but in this case I just want to give it like 90, which is absolutely perfect. So you can see here, but you may not appreciate it now until we start to add content. Now I want to add 2 containers inside this one so that they can go from left to right. So basically what I'm going to do first, click on this and go to layout. Make sure that the direction is going from left to right. Now I can now add 2 containers. So container 1 here, then container 2 here. I'm just going to duplicate. All right, so now we have 2 containers going from left to right. Let me just move this here. I like to move by the pencil here, which is almost always accurate. Then I'm going to move this to this second container here. Then I'm going to move this here. Why did we have so many nested containers? You're going to find out. The reason is because so that we are able to color this container inside here, and we will not be able to touch both ends of the website, just the way it was done here. Remember, this one was not touching this end, right? So that is it. So that is why. So I'm just going to click on this and I'm going to color it, give it the background color and give it cream color. Now you can see the difference between this one and this one. This one is extending from left to right with no option of setting the width. We can't set the width until we use this trick of nesting it inside another container. So we're just going to get rid of this and we're going to keep working with this. I told you the width of this one is defined by the width of its mother, which we set outside. Now you will notice a white space inside here. Let's just get rid of it by clicking on advanced, click on this and click on this. You can see the white space is gone, but we still want to extend this width further. So let's see what we can do. Sorry, I click on the escape button. So we still want to extend the width further. Let's see what we can do. So I go to the container layout. Remember, I'm defining the width of what is inside this container, from the model because we are adjusting the content width, not the width of the container itself, but the width of the content inside the container. That's why any adjustment that we make on the model will affect the content of what is inside. So instead of us to set it to like 100%, we give it like 98%. Then I think 98% is pretty much good for what we're trying to achieve. So you can see that we've been able to achieve it. You can see that there is a white space here, and now it's time to overlap it. It's time to overlap it on top of this image so that it shows. Again, you are going to select the model, right? I've selected the model, and I'm going to go to advanced, and I'm going to go to margin top, and I'm going to give it to like
minus 20px.
Now we've been able to achieve the same thing that was done on this website, though it was subtle. It is something that we can easily overlook, but I just want you to know how to do it yourself. So now you can see that we've been able to achieve this same effect. Now we can keep designing ahead, but then let's add some decent amount of padding inside this container. So I'm just going to go here, still on the same container. I'm going to click on top 20, bottom 20. So you notice that even though we add a padding, which is known to be the space inside of an element, not outside, is showing empty. The reason is because the background color of the model container itself is transparent. No background color was set, right? So what padding you add to it is not going to have an effect on this. Where you are going to add the padding is actually inside this, so that there's going to be enough space. So let me just remove this first. You can see that the space have closed up a little bit. So I'm just going to add top 20, bottom 20. This may be a bit tricky, but if you follow my steps, you will understand it perfectly. You will get it right. If you follow how I move things on my system, what I did, just do it, you will get it. Okay, it may take some little practice for this small thing, but it is ultimately going to be worth it. All right, now that we have this here, now that we have this here, we move on to the next section, which is a bit easy. All right, things are getting a bit crazy, but we're going to get it sorted. All right, so we move on to the next section. We are done with the hero section. Let me just update it and view our website in the front end. You can see that we are done with the hero section now, and everything is ongoing well. Now the next thing we want to do is design this section. To do that, we just need to click on this as usual and click on this flex boss here, and I'm going to click on this. By default, you should always use the first flex boss, because you can still add anything on top, but bear in mind that anything you add is going to be stacked. What stacked means is that it's going to go from up and down. So any new object I had here is going to keep going on the down, but if I selected the right arrow, anything I add is going to follow that direction. So that is the implication of that. But because most of what we're going to be adding here is on top of each other, so that's why I selected the first one. And if we need to add something like this, we can always create another container and change the direction. All right, so here we go to heading, add the heading here. Are you tired of this issue? So let's just copy this text and paste it here. You will notice that our own header is thicker than their own, and I think ours is a bit smaller than their own. So we can adjust the text size and set it as default. So I'm just going to go to style, and I'm going to go to typography. I'm going to change this from 600 to 500, right? But even though I think 600 is a very good idea, so let's just leave it at 600. It's not a must that we copy bumper to bumper. We can just add some more creativity, which is what we are doing now. So leave it at 600. I think the bolder it is, the better. So let me give it a font size of like 35 to make it look big, and Yeah, I think this font size of 35 is okay, but should we give it like 40? 40 is too big. So let me leave it as 36 then. So 36 is okay, right? So what we want to do next is center this text. Normally, if you want to center the text itself, you can just click on here. And once you click on here to center the whole body of the text, including the white space around it, just go to advanced, then click on this align self center, right, which is a very good approach. So just do that. The next thing we want to add here is this text here. So I'm just going to copy this text content. I'm going to add a text widget, which is a text editor, and I'm going to paste it just under here. Again, all you need to do is, again, to align into the center, you first align to the center here, then go to advanced, then align self. Now we want to change this text, right? Just do this, paste it here, make sure we don't have any extra white spaces. You will notice that this text here, is wide. It's going from here to here, which is crazy. We don't want it to be this wide. Wide text is usually they are usually too hard to read. When you have to scan your head from left to right every time, it becomes hard to read. That is why on my own blog, let me show you one of my blogs. So on this website I built, if you go to the blog section, the way I designed the blog, it is easy to read even when you're on computer. So let's click on this blog, for example. You can see how I centered all my text so that you don't have to twist your neck from left to right. The same approach is used in design, but you may be unaware of it. Most websites now, they either shift everything to the left hand side and make sure that it doesn't go from left to right. So let me give you an example here. Let's look at Washington Post, or let's look at GQ magazine, anything you look at, or let's look at Washington Post, for example. It's a website where we talk about news, world news, and all of that. So if you click on their articles, you will see that they will never write an article from left to right. It is always aligned like in a small area, like you can see here, because it is not easy for people to write words from left of the screen to the right of the screen, and you get. So that's why texts are always like that. They're always, especially when they are meant for reading. So to do the same thing here, we are going to reduce the width of this text. So I'm just going to click on advanced, and I'm going to go to width. I'm going to go to custom. I'm going to change the width to like I think 60% is not a bad idea. So I'm just going to leave it on 60%, right? As a rule, every time you are done with a section in Elementor, always check the mobile version and the tablet version just to make sure that they are responsive and they appear very well on mobile and tablet. So I'm just going to close this and this. Of course, we don't need this for now. We don't need this. So let's keep building. All right, so you can see now that I've reduced the width so that the text are all together in one place, at least, so that it is easily readable. Now the next thing for me is to add this section. I think after this section, we have to close this today's class, so that we can move on to the next, so that we can continue in the next class. But let me see how many I can do. I don't want to rush, so I don't mind how long this is going to take. All right, so here we go. We want to design something like this, and let me see. Yeah, we want to design something like this. I want to design something like this. First thing you want to do is to add another section, but again, it is not a good idea to just be adding sections anyhow. You add section when you are completely done with the section. Now this thing is part of this section, so let's just build it as part of this section. So to do that, I'm just going to add a new container below this text, right? I'm adding a container below this text widget. You can see that the container has a width of its own. independent of this text and this. All right, so here I'm now going to add two containers, right? Two containers. The container is going to hold this part and this part together. So I'm going to add two containers. So one here, one on the left and one on the right, one here. No, sorry, I don't mean to add another container. See, when you add another container inside an existing container, it go get belle. Now him say the new one that you add will enter inside the old one. If you don't want this effect, all you just need to do is duplicate the one that is already inside here so that we can have two parents. Now, what we don't want now is that these two are stacked on top of each other. To correct this, you select the parent container, which is their mother here. You can see the structure here, right? This is their mother, right? You select this and click on layout and change the direction from left to right. So now you have two containers left and right instead of up and down, which is exactly what we are trying to do to achieve this. First thing first, you're going to start by designing the inner container, which is this one, before you do this one. Now, to design the inner one, it's taking too long, but I don't mind, just so that you are very, very good with web design. So here, in this container here, you are going to add this content here, which is the header. So let's start, before styling it, let's add the header first. A good thing to do would just be to copy this like this and just paste it inside here. You can see, right? But then there are still some things you need to change. I think we don't need to change anything, so it is okay like this. So here I'm going to add a padding. Padding is a space that you add around an element, or this white space here. No, all this white space here, all this empty space that you see around here, that's inside this box, is called padding. So we are going to add a decent amount of padding, but let's first add the background color so that we see what we are doing. So go to background, let's see if we have it. I think this is it. Yeah, so let's add more padding to it. So I'm just going to go to padding here. The difference between selecting this to be white and this is that when you select this, when it is empty, you can set the values independently, but when it is filled like this, all the values will change with each other. So I'm just going to give it like 30 on all sides, or let me give it like 25 on all sides. We can always adjust if it doesn't go well with us, but for now I think it is okay. All right, so this text here, we can change to this. All right, I'm going to change this, but in my own opinion, I think the text is too bold here. It is okay for it to be bold here, but let's change the weight here. All right, I'm just going to go to style and I'm going to change the weight to like 500 px. It is too bold to be here. So yeah, it is okay like this, and it's time to now start adding all these things. To add these things, there's a widget called icon list. We've used it before, but we are going to use it in a different way now. I'm going to add it here, icon list, right? We want to achieve something like this. So here it is. I'm just going to go to style. I'm going to increase the spaces between these items, right? Give it 15 px is a good is a good idea. Then let's go to alignment. I think these things are aligned to the center, so I'm just going to select this so that the icons can go, this list can go in the center. What else? I think the text are all in capital letters, so let's set the typography to be transform uppercase. Now yeah, What else? I think icons. Icons. Let me click on this. Icons are. I don't know why. There used to be a way for icons to be after the text, not before. But this is not letting us do this. This is definitely not letting us do this. Let me see. So this is not letting us do this. All right, so this is a limitation in Elementor. Except you use custom codes, you can't by default get these icons from the left to the right, except you use custom code. So it has made it not possible for us to actually be able to continue with these widgets. And I really don't want to cut corners. I want to achieve the exact same thing that was achieved here. So I'm going to be taking another route. So watch out. What I'm about to do now. Normally, we could have just used this icon list, and it pretty much has everything we want to achieve. The dividers, the divider color here, as you can see here. But it doesn't support icons to be pushed to the front. So to fix that issue, let me see what we can do here. What we can do. No, we're not going to be using icon box. I think that is too extreme. To fix that issue, what we just need to do here is put in a container inside here, then build our things inside. All right, so first off, I'm just going to apply a divider up here. So divider first. Divider, I'm going to put it here. So we have the first line. We can color it white. Of course, it was white that they gave it in. And so I've colored it white. Let me see how thick it is. This is 1 pixel, I think. So let me check. The width is, style. The width is 1 px. Width is the thickness of a line. Let me see if 2 px works. Okay. Is 2 px not too much? These people used 1 px, but let's give it 1.5 so that it is not too thick, or let's give it 1.3 so that it is not too thick and it's not too obscure. So this is it, and let's add this. So the trick I'm going to use here, let me first reduce the space in this divider. So I'm just going to reduce the gap here to like 5. Remember that we are designing all of these things inside the container. So the trick I'm going to use here to get this thing here is to add a button and set the transparency. The background as transparent. So let me just add a button. Elementor allows us to adjust the icon position in a button. So watch. So this is it here, right? And I'm going to select the icon external. I think arrow. There is an icon that goes up here. Let me just find out what this icon is. Or let me see window. Let me just see. I must see what this icon is. Alright, so this icon happens to be a custom this icon happens to be a custom SVG icon. As we all know, we know a website that allows us to download SVG icons. I've taught you this in my previous lessons. So we are going to do the exact same thing. So I'm just going to go to icon library. No icon. I'm going to go to upload SVG. I'm going to go to that icon doc. It's called icondoc.com. So I'm going to type external with hopes of seeing that icon that they used. So I think the icon is called external. So you can see, but no, this is not exactly what I'm looking for. It just looks like it, but hopefully if we search and search, we'll find it. The reason why I'm doing all of this is because I don't want to cut corners, as I have always said. So let's see if we can find that button. So this is the icon we're trying to find. It's called the diagonal arrow. Yeah, so we're just going to look for one that looks similar. If we can't find it, I think we can just steal these people's icon. All right, we can steal their icon. Let me see whether we can steal the icon. All right, so here it is. This is an SVG icon, right? Let me teach you a trick. You can steal any SVG, right? If you can get the code. Now I'm just going to right click this, copy element, right? I want to steal this icon and use it in our design because I've tried looking for one and I didn't see anyone that quite look like what we are looking for. The ones that these ones seem to have some rounded edges, which I don't want, and I don't want to take you through the process of designing icons in CorelDRAW. So our best bet will be to steal these people's icon since we can't find it in our icon list here. We can't find it here. So let's steal the icon. I've copied the SVG code by inspecting and copy it. You can see here. I pressed Ctrl Shift and C and I copied it. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to an online note creator, but if you are using Windows, it should be easy for you to do. So let me just go to online TXT editor. It allows me to create CST files, right? Then I can now rename them later. I don't like all this website so my goal is just to look for, because on my Mac, if I want to create a new text file, it's always hard. I mean, it's not almost always impossible. If you know how to create text files on Mac without without long thing. Like for example, I want to create a text file here. There is no option for creating a new text file except I open text editor, and that is not what I want to do here. So all we just need to do is, you can go to any online text editor, just paste the SVG code here. You can see the SVG code here. You can see it. I copied it from the source here. That is how you can steal SVG image. You see the magic now. Now this is the code, not the image. Then I'm going to click on download and save. Why is it not downloading now? Oh, okay, now it is downloading, right? It downloaded as a TXT, right? Now that it has downloaded, I'm just going to go here and I'm going to rename this to an SVG format. Another way to actually create this is opening a code editor like VS Code on your laptop. and doing it and save it as an SVG. But yeah, this another. So just go to just say icon.svg. It's saying that I want to change the file extension to SVG. I said, okay, that is exactly what I want. You will see now that we now have the icon. It's trying to open corridor just because I want to view an SVG file. All right, so I've downloaded the, I've stolen what I wanted to steal from this website, basically the SVG code, and I now made it an icon. And that is it. By putting the code into a txt file, then converting it into an SVG file by changing the file format. But if you are using Windows may not allow you to even see this file format, talk less of exchanging it. You should look for a way to do that yourself, or simply use VS Code to work with the code that we copied from this website and save it as an SVG file. You can do either way. So we already have our SVG file now. I'm just going to click on upload files, click on this, and where is it, icon.svg. You can see, I think it's pretty much what we were running away from. So I mean, it's just come here and copy it. Just click on this icon and download it. My internet is slow, I don't know why. Just click on download. All right, so now we have our icon here, but you can equally use the icon we have here too as well. Just saying. So this is our icon that we stole from that website. This is just me teaching you how to steal stuff, especially SVG icons. Now you see that we have the icon here now. We have the icon here, right? Like I said, I think you can also use the icon we downloaded from this site. I think they are the same. Let me just put it in. Yeah, they are pretty much the same thing. Anyone that you like, you can use. So I'm inserting it here. But look at, it's not conforming. The colors are not changing. So let me use the one that we stole from that website. I think this one, icon.svg. Yeah, I think this one is conforming, which means that the color is changing with the text. So this is a better option, the one we stole from this website. All right, so what are we going to do? The trick we are going to do here now is to change the icon position to after. Now you see we are getting there, and we go to style, we go to typography, transform, uppercase, just so that everything we put in here is going to be capital letters regardless of how we typed it. Now my next goal is to remove the background color of the button and to make the text color to be blue instead of white. Now this is how I would do it. The background color of the button, I'm going to make it like this, and I'm going to ramp this to here. Can you see? Now with our button doesn't have any background color again. Now it's time to change the text color to blue. Now here it is. So can you see now that we have a blue text now? Now let's change the overall color of the blue text to something lighter, just the same way it was done on this website when you hover on it. It's just basically changing the transparency. I mean, adding more transparency so that when they hover on it, it becomes a bit transparent, right? But with the way this SVG icon is behaving, can you see? I think this would not be a good idea. So let's increase. Oh, it doesn't even make any difference though. All right, we don't really worry yourself about the way the SVG icons is behaving. We can always revisit that later. So let's go ahead with our design. This typography here, we can give the text color, a bit more size. So let's put it on 16. Yeah, so I'm just going to change the button text to free articles. You can see that I'm typing in small letters and yet it is converting into capital letter. That is because we set the transform to be uppercase. Now, the next thing on the list is to change the size of the icon. So the icon size, oh my god, there is no option to change the icon size here. Different problem, different kind of problem from anywhere. So there's no option to change the icon size here, but let's see if we can try. Let's see if we can do something. Oh god. I think changing the text size, we invariably change the icon size. But I wish there is a way to change the icon size independently. So let's just give the size like 16. Yeah. So for now it is okay. For now it is okay. And let's go to style, content, alignment, center, and we can also go to advanced, align self center. Right here, let's see if the other icon, will be big enough. It's not conforming. Yeah, so you know what? Just gonna keep pushing. So what we're gonna do is for this button, just set it to extra small. Or you don't need to set it to extra small, you can just leave it like this. Just leave it on small. You just go to style for the button, padding 0. You give it 0 padding, then this. So this container here, you remove the gap, give it like 5, so that the contents are close to each other. There will be not too much gap. Now let me just duplicate this divider, then bring it below. You're going to run into a lot of problems here, but with the help of the navigator, here, you can position the divider, the button inside so drag the button inside so that it's in the middle of these two dividers. So dragging items sometimes without the help of the navigator is always a problem, right? So that is where this navigator comes in. So you're able to reorder your stuff. Don't get frustrated. Sometimes it can go outside of what you plan to do, but now you go know as you go take down. All right, so this is it. Free articles. though this is not the most flexible way to do what we are doing now, but the issue we had um with the first approach was that we could not bring the icon from the left to right, and I didn't want you to use code. Do you get? So let's just keep building. Let's just keep adding more. So this, I'm just going to select this and this. So select this, command or control this. Now that these two are selected, you can use the navigator to select. You can use the navigator to select this button and this divider, right? Then right click and duplicate them so that we have another one to edit. So click on this new button, then change the text from free articles to like YouTube videos. Remember, you can just decide to type in any case that you have. Like, what I mean by case is capitalization of the characters or normalization of it. So it is going to automatically be capitalized because of what we did to it. So the same thing you're going to do for this remaining two. So we have best selling courses 1-on-1 per hour. All right, so you just go like this button, this divider, this button, and this divider. We are just going to duplicate it twice so that we have enough. This button and this divider, this button and this divider, then duplicate again. All right, so don't mind the purple something that I say. It's all these are Elementor bugs. If I update and refresh now, it will be gone. So just don't let that distract you. So let me just refresh it. So you can see that it is gone now. It's just an artifact. All right, so we have achieved this thing now. The only thing I just noticed is that the gaps between their own is bigger than our own. How can we do this? Let's go to the container containing all these things and increase the gaps here. So these gaps is just basically going to, it just refers to the gaps between each element in the column, in this container. So if I give it like 30, elements will be farther away from each other. So let me just give it like 15 so that it looks at least something like this. All right, so we've been able to do this, though it's not looking like this exactly, especially because of the white space around. Well, we can add that to our own as well. Let me close this. We can add that white space by adding some padding to the left and right of this container. So let me add some padding here. Padding left, give it like 50. Padding right, give it like 50. So you can see we have some spaces around here. Now let's add more space around the top and bottom of this big container here so that we have space here and we have more space here. So let's click on this big container. I'm just going to go to advanced. I'm going to disconnect this so that I can set the values independently. So I'm just going to go to this and I'm going to set this one to like 50 and the bottom to like 50 here. Now you see we are getting there. Let me see if they have a corner radius for this. Sorry, they don't have a border radius. It's sharp on the edges. Now the next thing we want to build is this one on the right here, this girl here. So basically what we need to do is add a container, which we've already done here. Right, now that we've added the container, we need to add a margin in front. Remember I told you the margin is the space outside an element. So that you can notice this effect well. I'm going to first add a background image to this container. But if I want to do that, I need to put a spacer inside it so that to hold that space inside. Sorry, I'm just going to go to here and search for spacer and then drag it inside here. Now I'm just going to drag the spacer as to what length I want. So I think this length is okay, right? This length is okay. And there are many ways I can actually achieve this, but my best way is to actually put the background on the container and not on the spacer. So basically the spacer is just there to hold the container in case there's no other thing to make it big. Don't worry, you may not understand now, but you understand later. The spacer is there to hold the container. It's just like you using water to hold the drum so that breeze will not carry it away. If the spacer was not there, the moment you delete this thing here, everything collapses, including the background image that you put. So it is just there to hold. It's like a space, something to occupy a space so that the background is enough. Shows. So I'm clicking on this container and not the spacer, the container, and I'm setting the background in the container, not on the spacer. So let's look for a suitable image that we can use. In this case, again, I'm just going to go to Shutterstock because it has the image that we need. Lots of image that we can select from. So I can see girl on mobile phone. All right, so I'm looking for an image that is facing from left to right. It doesn't matter though, but I just feel like that will make more sense. Something like this, that is facing from right to left rather. And also I'm looking for an image that is not too rectangular. I want something like this. This is a rectangle. Okay, not bad then. So let's just look for an image where the girl is pressing phone but is facing the left from right. I don't want to do any kind of image editing myself. Alright, so I think we can use this image. It's not that bad. Again, just to show you how to download images for free on Shutterstock, I will not be using my license to download this image. You can right click and say copy link address, or you can click on it and still go and copy this link. If you right click from there and copy link address, this is the link that will be copied to your clipboard. Let me prove it to you. I'm going to delete this, and if I paste it, you see that it is still the same link. So most times I really don't like wasting my time coming to the picture link before I copy the address. Now, just so you know, there are two ways you can copy the link address of the picture you want to download. Now that I have the link copied in my clipboard, the next thing I'm going to look for is Shutterstock downloader. So Shutterstock downloader, and I'm going to click on the site that worked the last time. You can also explore other websites such as this one, downloader.la. I think is one of those sites that I like to use. But then you're gonna have to search for Shutterstock downloader here, and that may take some time. So let's just go back and let's use the one that has worked for us. So I'm going to click on this saying I'm using an ad blocker. I'm going to unblock my ads. So I'm just going to click on Shutterstock downloader, and you can see lots of white space here. Don't get confused, just scroll down. You see the box here and you paste it. Then click on get image. It's going to take a while and it's going to fetch the image for you on Shutterstock. So you'll be able to right click and save the image as. Now you see this is the image. So I'm just going to right click and save image as. Just to give you the name like remember I told you when you are developing your website and you want it to rank very well on SEO result pages, always put in mind what name you give to your images. So this one you can just see two excited girls on a mobile phone. Using a mobile phone. Or you can just leave it like this. It's still a better name than just writing the default jargons as the name. Now let's go and compress it because it will be unwise to use an image of 1.8 gigabytes inside an image of 2 gigabytes inside a website. Just that small space we need it for. All right, so this has compressed it by 373%. And again, I just think it is not a good idea to be using an image as big as 507 KB. So I'm going to stop using this website. I also noticed that this website is post-processing the image by refining it. Can you see that the hand of the girl is almost invisible? It looks as if they use an AI software to improve the appearance and increase the scale, to upscale it. No, I don't want that. So I'm not going to be using that software to download images from Shutterstock again. In fact, there is a website called istock.com. Let's look our message, our images there. So it is called istock.com. All right. So we're going to be using istock.com henceforth. So let's see picture of or two of girl excited on phone. istock.com is one of the largest stock images website, although they are premium, they are paid websites for images, but then it's not a bad place to get images from. And one thing I also like from this website is that if the size of the image you want is not that big, you can easily just right click and save the image and use it in your project. So in this case, girl with a phone. All right, so you can see that the image is 29.6 KB, and let's enlarge it and see. It is still not bad, though I will not advise you to use an image of such quality in a real project. If you want to download the higher quality version, you can just copy the link address. It's just the same way on Shutterstock as clicking the image and copying the address from here. You can copy the link address, then you go to this website called istockphotodownloader.bitsnope.com. Now, when I click on it, it loads this website. I like this website for iStock images because it is straight to the point. It doesn't, it doesn't go through all those post-processing and delay. So it's straight to the point, and so I'm just going to deactivate my ad blocker so it can work. Now I'm going to paste my link here. Yeah, and I'm just going to click on this. I'm not a robot, and I'm going to click on download. You can see how straight to the point it is for downloading stock images. So let's wait for the download to complete, and I don't know why it's taking so long. I don't know why, honestly. It used to be faster than this. Why is it giving me options to download in 2K? All right, so let me see if the image is actually better. Now this is the preview image, so it's not better. So let's click on 2K. All these stock image websites, they are not so good for convenience, but if you need an image, you have to go through all these inconveniences of going through ads and all of that. You can see that this still looks like a real image compared to all those AI images. You can see that the hands are very clear and crisp. So I'm just going to save this, and I'm going to just rename the image to something meaningful. Excited lady. But if I were you in a real project, I'll be using keywords to define that image so that it can make meaning in the eyes of Google crawlers. So if, for example, if I'm designing a website for cars, I will use relevant keywords to name that image, such as cars, and you know what I'm talking about. But we've gotten our image now. We need to determine the size. The size is 194 KB. It is not that bad for an image of that quality. So I will not compress it with tiny PNG, but I can decide to compress it with tiny PNG just to get even further compression levels. So let's see what we get from 198 KB. let's see how much compression. So we've been able to reduce it from 198 to 100. It's not so much difference, so which was why I was saying we should use it. So background image, I'm just going to click on this. Well, I'm just going to add the background image from here. Just go like this and paste it here. Now we have the image of the girl we want to use, and I'm just going to click on select. Now you can see how it looks after adding the image. Everything looks scattered, but that is why we have this section here. I always told you, when you add a new background image, make these adjustments here. Position depends totally on what part of that image you want to show. It is usually center, so you leave it on center. Attachments should always be left on default. Repeat should be no repeat, except you are dealing with patterns where you want it to fill every part possible and you still don't want to stretch it. So repeat should be no repeat, because we don't want our image to occur 2 times inside that same box. Display size should be cover always. Now let's see, you can now see that the image of that picture girl is showing. Let me just show you how it is changing in real time. So from position, center, display size, cover. So you can see how it is changing. Then no repeat, of course it is no repeat. Next thing we want to do is to add margins around this image so that there is a space around it and it will force the image to shrink inside. Right, so let's do that now. Let me add a margin around it so it is going to be uniform. That is why I'm not touching this. So let me add a margin of like 30 px. You can see how the image got shrinked, right? It got smaller in comparison to this. Now I'm now going to unlink the values by clicking on this. Why? Because I need to set a negative margin on this side, right? I need to set the negative margin on this side so that this image can overlap this one, just the way it is on the website that we are using for practice. I mean, from the original website here, you can see how this image overlap this. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And I also noticed that this image is a lot wider than this, and we're also going to treat that as well. So to make that possible, let's first reduce the size of this first container here to make it less to make it occupy less space versus this. All right, so to do that, I'm just going to click on this external container here. Remember here, the external container here, I'm going to go to layout and I'm going to change this container width to full width, right? Please note, then I'm going to change the size to like no, let's leave it at boxed, right? I'm going to change the size. No. So I'm going to change this container to full width and I'm going to change the size to like 80%. And this one, I'm going to go here, layout, I'm going to change it to full width and I'm going to change the size to let me just leave it on the default value. Yeah, so let me give it like, I'm going to give it like 40% after changing it to full width, and this one I'm going to give it like 60%. So let me give it 60%. 60%. So 40, 60, total of 100. And remember, the reason why this is like this is because we added a margin, which is the space outside the element. Now we want to make the margin on the left to be a negative value so that it can come and overlap part of this. But before we do that, let's reduce the spacing between these two. containers. So I'm going to click on the mother containers and come here and give it like 0 so that there will be no space. The only space we have is the space that occurred as a result of this margin that I added to this photo here. And this one, I think it probably needs more more padding because we need some more space around here. So I'm just going to click on this. I'm going to go to advanced, and the padding on the right and left will be increased to like 30 and 30. Is it much? Let me just give you like padding of 50 on the right and 50 on the left. So here we go. We have something like this. But I noticed that our own is a bit tiny than the one we have. It doesn't matter though. You can always adjust the width here, the width of this first container, but I'm not going to do that. I think it is okay. So let me remove the padding on both right and left here, and let's see what we got. Yeah, I think it is okay, but let me just give it like 30 then instead of 50 that we had there before. So this is perfect. Next thing I want to do now is to overlap this. The reason why I've been doing all these adjustments is because I don't want this thing to overlap the text. So I need white spaces around there. So that's why I've had to put padding inside this container. So now let's put this on a negative margin so that I can overlap this. I'm just going to unlink these values together. Then I'm going to first remove the values on the left hand side. So here it is. Can you see now? It is getting closer. Now to make it overlap, I'm going to give it a negative value, which is -30. Now you see we have been able to achieve this just the same way it is here. Just that, let's give this some more. So let's give it like 45. Yeah. All right. So I think we've been able to get it right. So let's just make adjustments to this text here. So I'm just going to go here, best selling. Yeah. So here, the last one here, best selling courses. Then the last one here is one-on-one power hour, one power hour. All right, so here it is. We've gotten what we wanted. Now it's time to add some spaces, some breathing spaces to the entire section. Now I'm going to add some padding here to the section here. So I've unlinked it so that I can add only padding for both top and bottom. So for the top, I'm just going to give it like 50, and for the bottom, I'm going to give it like 50. So we are done with this section. Actually, we've been able to build the hero section today, and we've been able to build the immediate section here. Right. So here we have 2 sections built. We continue on other sections in the next class. All right, we continue on other sections in the next class. All right, so that's just it for now, and thank you. It's been a long class. It's just because I didn't want to skip any detail, but I hope we've been able to get something out of this. Now, as a rule, before I end this, let's see how everything looks on other devices. So here it is on tablets. I'm just going to adjust this, give it percentage, and give it like on tablets, give it like 50. Right, this one to the same thing, layout, full width, change this to percentage. That was 50. Let me just give this one to 50. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it like this. But let me see, this one was 50, this one was 50. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it like this. So what I can do here, click on this, go to advanced, unlink this, right, set the margin top to be 30, margin bottom to be 30, margin right to be like 10, just because of this space, to balance up this space. Then margin left to be negative of 30. All right, so margin right can just remain like that, like 0. But one thing I noticed is that this image extended. I mean, when I moved it, the image was not. So what you can do is you can just drag your mouse here once it is set as full width to make adjustments to the width, so that, I mean, it can, so you can see. All right, so you can just drag your mouse to make adjustments in real time, so long as these things have been set to full width. Look, so long as you set this layout to full width, you can drag your mouse to make adjustments to the area it covers. So I think it's okay to leave it like 54. All right, so here it is. Still not looking perfect, but still a lot better. Then here, let's see how it looks on mobile. Now we need to make adjustments to the various. So I want to select this, but I'm having a hard time. So let's use our selector, our navigator, to select the container itself. Now I'm just going to remove all the negative values. So I'm going to add margin on the right, so give 30 on the right, give 30 on the left. Then on the top, I'm going to give I have no idea why this thing is moving like this. It's probably because this container size is more than it should be. So let's give it like 80, or let's give it like 90. It's probably more than it should be. So go to advanced layout. Man, I have no idea. I'm confused, man. All right. Thank you, everybody. For now, it is good on desktop. So let me just view it.